I said to my friend the other day, I said, you know, on this age, and we can get into debates around fitness. Look, I'd rather have 80 years behind me than those 88 federal criminal counts in front of me. And so I feel very good about Joe Biden.
My message is, Gavin Newsom, I am going to expose you for the complete fraud that you are, the liar that you are, and you will never, ever be the president of this country.
California politics has always had a flair for drama. But what just happened takes it from reality TV straight into soap opera territory. And the star of this latest episode? None other than Governor Gavin Newsom. But here's the kicker. This isn't a pundit ranting or a protester waving a sign. No, this time it's a California sheriff stepping out from behind the badge, flipping a script, and blasting the governor's carefully polished image. Picture a lawman trading his duty belt for a megaphone, pointing straight at Sacramento's mess, and exposing chaos so wild, it'll make you wonder if the state secretly runs on popcorn and plot twists.
Are completely caused by California government. And that's the only reason why California is no longer the greatest state in the country. We have the greatest businesses, greatest people, greatest business mind, the greatest innovators, the greatest creators, the greatest entrepreneurs in the country. My wife and I were fortunate enough to go to Europe last year. We paid for a sommelier to come in and make sure that we learned everything about Italian wine and all of that stuff. The first introductions, where are you from? California. And he laughed and he said, you guys have...
Before we dive deeper, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you think. Now, back to the circus. Imagine this. California politics officially enters the twilight zone when a sheriff, a man usually busy running deputies, patrol cars, and making sure county jails don't double as Airbnbs, suddenly steps into the political cage match with Gavin Newsom. And forget polite press statements. This sheriff dropped a full-on truth bomb so heavy, it sent the governor's PR team scrambling for industrial-strength Advil.
So proud to be governor of California. Fourth largest economy on planet Earth. Fourth largest economy in the world, $4.1 trillion. You know why? It's because of immigrants. It's because people from all around the world want to come and live their lives out loud here in California, the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. 27% of this state is foreign-born. And you talk about a state of mind for people that are foreign-born that come here for new beginnings, the entrepreneurial.
Because it's not every day a sheriff grabs the mic like some cowboy-turned-commentator, tossing shade at the state's slick-haired governor. But that's exactly what happened. Tired of watching California unravel faster than a bargain bin sweater, this sheriff finally stood up and said one word: enough.
And we're just looking at each other like, how would someone across the world know that we have a lunatic for a governor? I was concerned with my career, my life, my family, my own home, and making sure that I was... The chief of police from the largest police agency in the country said that they are being overwhelmed. Governor Newsom needs to put his phone down, go sit in his house behind the comfort of his TV screen and a couch, and be quiet, because he is doing nothing but fueling...
And the fallout? Let's just say California's progressive utopia PR campaign got a dent the size of a pothole on the 405 freeway. To set the scene, picture California as a never-ending reality show. On one side, you've got beaches, movie stars, and kale smoothies served with guilt-free smiles. On the other, spiraling crime, tent cities under every overpass, and sheriffs who feel more like disaster managers than law enforcement officers.
To stay out of the way of law enforcement. He knows nothing about this. He has enabled this lawless act that is going on right now. This has been years in the making that he has encouraged. So quite frankly, I don't care what he says. He says everything in a disingenuous manner for his own personal political gain, and we are suffering the consequences.
In the middle of all this chaos, Gavin Newsom struts around with hair so perfect it looks like it's styled by angels armed with unicorn hairspray. He's mastered the art of talking, painting California as one avocado toast away from paradise. On the national stage, he smiles, shakes hands, and sells Sacramento as heaven on earth. But the sheriffs? they're not buying the brochure. And this one didn't just raise mild concerns. No, he ripped the bandage clean off, exposing a festering wound. According to him, California's leaders are playing a dangerous game of pretend. Crime stats are airbrushed like a Hollywood facelift. Homelessness gets spun like a minor inconvenience. And drug use is brushed off as a lifestyle choice instead of the full-blown crisis it is.
We've been lied to from the very beginning. The politicians, California politicians, the mayor of Los Angeles, our governor, have completely failed in that nothing was happening in the beginning. It was allowed to spiral out of control, and then they have created this narrative that completely defies facts and a timeline that we know happened.
The sheriff's mic drop moment, calling Newsom's California exactly what it is, not reality, but a movie set, and Californians noticed. Social media exploded overnight with memes, cheers, and outrage. Some hailed him as Sheriff Woody, riding in to save the day from the slick-haired villain. Others clutched their soy lattes, insisting he was just a cowboy stuck in the past. But the point was made. One uniformed lawman shattered the facade, calling out the growing gap between Sacramento's talking points and life on the ground.
They keep calling it a peaceful protest, mostly peaceful, whatever they want to call it. But the reality is that law enforcement officers are being attacked, property is being destroyed, and it is out of control violence that really they're trying to deny.
Meanwhile, Newsom stayed on the podium, smiling like a host bragging about the wine selection while the kitchen's on fire and the guests are brawling. But this sheriff wasn't having it. He said what millions were thinking. This isn't leadership, it's gaslighting on a statewide scale. And this wasn't some small-town sheriff with 2 deputies and a traffic light. This was someone with clout, influence, and reach. Reactions split the state. Rural Californians cheered like their team just won the Super Bowl, while progressive urban centers fumed, asking, how dare he?
Keeping us down with over-regulation, activism, appeasement of activists, instead of taking care of the majority of Californians as a whole. And it's an agenda. It is a complete agenda of making sure that government is in control of all of our lives instead of us being in control of government. And so the only reason I'm doing this is to restore that.
And of course, social media had a field day. Memes of Newsom pulling crime stats out of a magician's hat, jokes about sheriffs being the new influencers, and tweets declaring, forget Instagram models, I'm following sheriffs now. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about California. Newsom has been polishing his national image for years, positioning himself as a future presidential contender, with sharp suits and an even sharper jawline. The problem? While he's selling America on sunsets and palm trees, sheriffs are standing up saying, don't believe the hype.
It's supposed to be that government is supposed to be working for us. We are not supposed to be working to increase the size of government. And that's the only reason why California is no longer the greatest state in the country. You can have our politicians say it as much as they want, but we are the laughingstock of the rest of the country. We are the laughingstock of the world.
And here's the danger for Newsom. Once one sheriff speaks out, others might follow. Sheriffs talk. They share stories. If more decide to expose what's happening behind the glossy California postcard, suddenly it's not one voice. It's a chorus. Overnight, Newsom went from camera-ready governor to a host caught serving burnt food at a dinner party while insisting everything's fine. That's the power of this moment. A single sheriff cracked the image control wide open.
Just last week, the San Diego Board of County Supervisors passed an internal policy that prohibits the Sheriff's Department from cooperating with federal immigration authorities, like ICE. This comes off the heels of Governor Gavin Newsom calling for an emergency session to safeguard California's laws and values before the Trump administration takes office in January. One of the key issues at the forefront of the conversation is California's sanctuary status for undocumented immigrants. But not everyone is on board with these actions. San Diego Sheriff Kelly Martinez came out in opposition to the policy and said that she would not comply. Even though Martinez is not a conservative, she is responsible for maintaining public safety and for abiding by.
For everyday Californians, it was vindication. Years of dodging encampments, worrying about catalytic converters, and watching shoplifting turn into a public pastime, all confirmed in one speech. It wasn't disvalidation, it was catharsis. The governor's defenders tried damage control, claiming exaggeration, politicization, or misrepresentation. But the problem, for many, is Sheriff wasn't exaggerating. He was describing the reality deputies face daily. Criminals cycling in and out of jail faster than the paperwork clears, overdoses piling up, and law enforcement stretched thinner than rush hour patients in Los Angeles.
About it, and he's like, everyone wants to go to the United States, and it used to be everyone wants to go to California. Here, no one wants to go to California anymore. They'll go to California for Disneyland. That's it. And it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing that we are no longer the greatest state in the country, and we're still all the same people. We're still all the same businesses. It's our government that has completely changed and brought us to this laughingstock position, and I'm going to take it back. I take some blame for it because I wasn't standing on the rooftops yelling to everyone that we had to stop this, look what's going on.
That's why this moment stings. Newsom hasn't exactly been subtle about wanting a bigger stage. You don't stockpile that much hair gel just for Sacramento photo ops. He's been rehearsing for the national spotlight. But when your own sheriffs start pointing out rot under the floorboards, trust erodes. Sheriffs aren't politicians. They're seen as boots-on-the-ground authority. And when they call you out, people listen. This isn't career-ending, not yet. But it's a dangerous crack in the governor's carefully polished armor.
I was concerned with my career, my life, my family, my own home, and making sure that I was secure. I kind of just wasn't paying attention to what government was doing, and now it's affecting everyone. So I will make sure that what I came to California for, my California dream, I will make sure that every kid growing up now has that dream, and even the kids that now are from 20 to 35, that it's impossible for them to make their California dream. I'll make sure that I make up for it, and we return the ability to look at that Gold Coast as the beacon for the rest of.
And here's where the irony gets Shakespearean. The sheriff didn't need to exaggerate. He just described reality. Rise in crime, overwhelmed police, exploding homelessness, and fentanyl spreading like wildfire. Yet Sacramento insists California is thriving. It's the kind of gaslighting that makes you wonder if the governor's staff wears reality distortion glasses to work. And that's why the sheriff's story hits so hard. He didn't just throw around numbers. He told a story that matched people's lived experiences. And in politics, when someone's story feels truer than the official narrative, people believe it.